What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Sorry, I had my house clean. Everything is askew on my desk. Just trying to adjust my camera. There we go. What's up, everybody? Andrew Nance in the house. Let's effing go. Guys, we got a show. We got a show for the ages today. A lot of stuff to talk about. So much craziness going on in the world of mixed martial arts that is unbelievable. Sorry, just trying to get my camera back after they kind of messed it up. Oh, God, super crazy. Western says, wow, Nance is on time today. Absolutely. What a legend. We were late. We apologize. It was my fault. I was late. And Western says, how many damn title shots is Cyril Gane going to get? I'm going to tell you the whole breakdown because I've been listening to Ariel's show this morning. I'll tell you how this all came about. And I don't look, man, here's the thing. The UFC really tried to make this card something other than what it is. They really tried, and I heard the whole narrative from Ariel Helwani. So we're going to step through everything after we get our reactions, and we're going to talk about the entire card. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's only so much the UFC can do. They cannot force people. They can't, you know what I mean? And I know Ariel and the boys were saying that they should have offered more money, and like it's not a limitless, endless supply of money that they have. They have spent $60 million. I'm sure they didn't want to pay John Jones an exorbitant amount of money after they gave him $30 million and he turned it down. So there's a lot of factors at play. There was an injury for Islam Makhachev, lots of things. So we're going to talk about everything. We're going to tear it all up here today. But before we get into it, I haven't had a chance to talk to Justin yet about this entire White House card. So let's break it down with Justin. And we had a fun show on Friday with Dino from the Other 10-7 channel talking about this White House card. We made some predictions. We were so wrong. But here we go. Here's the White House official card going from bottom to top. Justin, we're going to get your reaction in real time on each and every fight. Starting off at the bottom, this one I did not see coming whatsoever. Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. And I'll say this, my issue with this fight is that the stakes are kind of missing in that Diego Lopez, very fun fighter, great fighter. If Steve Garcia gets the win, I think this could really raise his profile. But if Diego Lopez gets the win, it's like, well, where does he go? There's no way he's getting a title shot anytime soon. People would revolt if they did Alex Volkanovski trilogy. So at this point, what are the stakes? But that's the only thing I can say, although I love Diego Lopez. Justin, take it away. What's your reaction?
Not thrilled about this fight. Obviously a big Diego Lopez fan, but I mean, 2 of his last 3 has been for the title, and he beat Jean Silva, and now he's fighting a guy on arguably the biggest UFC card in the U.S. against a guy I've never heard of. I don't like it. There's no upside to this for Diego Lopez. Steve Garcia, for whatever reason, is getting this huge opportunity to take on a guy that, again, fought for the title against arguably one of the greatest featherweights of all time, 2 out of his last 3, and now he's put on with a nobody. I don't really understand it. Maybe you have a better idea of why the UFC done this, because this doesn't make any sense to me, and it's a lose-lose situation for Diego Lopez.
I don't understand it either. My only assumption is they were scrambling at the last minute. Some of these guys didn't know that they were on the card until Saturday. They have been working behind them. We're going to talk about all that. They've been working behind the scenes to put this together. So just so if you guys don't know much about Steve Garcia, obviously he's not a massive name, but he has beaten the likes of Chase Hooper, Korean Zombie. He's beaten Calvin Kattar, and most recently David Onama back in November of 2025. Not to mention he is on a 7-fight win streak. So this guy is doing things in the UFC, but he's not a fighter that his name rings out when you say his name. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see that guy. Maybe this will be that fight that raises his profile. I'm sure it will if he gets the victory. But yeah, I felt the same thing as well. Not a fight that I was really anticipating. I think they could have done a lot of interesting other fights. Bobby Green was asking to be on the card, different people like that. But ultimately, this is what it is. I don't hate it, but it's a little surprising. All right, moving up. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. I just wanted to see Bo Nickel, period, on this card. I prayed that it would have been Bo Nickel versus Colby Covington. I'm going to tell you why that didn't happen in a moment. But first, let me take it over to you, Justin. Kyle Dawkins, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a brown belt, believe it or not, in Muay Thai, which I didn't even know they gave belts in Muay Thai. I traded for 7 years. But take it away. What's your thoughts on this matchup?
You know, kind of like you, I just wanted to see Bo Nickel fight. Didn't really care who it was against. I was really looking forward to the Colby matchup because I know Colby would be priding him the whole time. And, you know, knowing that he's going to go in there and Bo Nickel's going to go in there and smash Colby like that. I was really looking forward to that. But Kyle Dawkins, very, very tough opponent. Yeah, it just really depends on the brand of Muay Thai, not essentially the style of Muay Thai, but like Bang Muay Thai. They do a ranking system through the color of your shirt. So it's like white shirt, yellow shirt, orange shirt, blue shirt, so on and so forth. So whenever you take a Bang Muay Thai class, you have to wear your colored shirt like you would belt in jiu-jitsu. Anyways, regardless of that, are you familiar with what Muay Thai style he is branded in? Or
no, I'm not. Here, I'll see if I can look that up.
Regardless, very good opponent. It's going to negate some Bo Nickel stuff, but Bo Nickel coming off a big head kick knockout, I think this is a good matchup.
Okay, so he is a purple belt in Muay Thai under Dwayne Ludwig.
Yeah, so he's a purple shirt. That's he's like a blue belt kind of under Dwayne's. I'm an orange shirt, which is right below him. Just because you have to know all these combos. You got to be able to do it in your orthodox stance, southpaw stance. And honestly, I just don't care to take the time of learning something that I'll never use in real application.
What the heck would I be if you're only an orange belt? That's depressing. Okay, I don't even
want
an
orange belt too.
Yeah. Damn
well, but again, it's not about how much Muay Thai. Obviously, I can go in there and just smash everybody in kickboxing. Yeah. But it's about knowing their system. It's about knowing their combos. So if I tell you to do, I don't know, they do combos named after like fighters. So like if I say the Condon, you need to know what that means. You don't know if it's a combo, it's a specific strike where he feints his head and then throws a head kick. So you got to just know all the terminology. It's not about your praise of kickboxing skill.
Yeah, I don't care to level up in that shirt game, whatever. By the way, Western says Bo would kill Kobe. Let me tell you what happened. I just literally just listened to this as I was getting ready to come down for the show. So Bo Nickel wanted Kobe, and the UFC told Kobe, this is what Bo Nickel said. And I believe Bo Nickel because Bo Nickel doesn't lie. Unlike Kobe always is kind of telling untruths and whatnot. But Bo Nickel said, yes, they had long, serious negotiations with Kobe. And they also told him, remember I said the UFC, I think they're going to force Kobe to fight Bo Nickel at the White House. And they tried to. They said, the only way you're fighting on the White House card, you have to fight Bo Nickel. And he still turned it down. And Bo Nickel said on Ariel's show, yeah, the reason why, which I believe, is that he knows he will get murked, absolutely murked. Because think about it. What's Kobe's one advantage, one ace in the hole against all these fighters is his wrestling, which has probably declined. We've seen it.
Which it hasn't been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so like what advantage does he have over Bo Nickel? Like maybe the striking, but his striking is not even very good. You could say Bo Nickel's needs some work, but I think they're probably comparable. And with the massive wrestling advantage, I think Bo Nickel would have absolutely smashed him. Plus he would have had to move up a weight class, which he said he wants to do anyways, but he would have been at a heavier weight. So the weight disadvantage would have been there. So that's what happened. And Bo Nickel, listen, man, I'm not here to call anybody in the UFC. They backed out. They that. They're a coward, whatever, because I don't get in there and fight. And I think it's weird for me or any of us non-fighters, spectators, fans to say that. But Bo Nickel said it. And this is the one time where I want to get behind Bo Nickel in that statement, because what is Kobe doing? What does he do? Does it drive you crazy? Because it drives me crazy. He gets out there. He talks all this smack, is so negative towards people, tells people they suck, they're horrible. Why? I don't even think he knows anymore why he goes on these tirades and rants against Ian Gary, against Bo Nickel, when he's not even going to fight them. He's going to skirt the fight. I think his personality, this persona that he's projecting, has taken him over. It's kind of like Spider-Man with that Venom character, the virus that comes in and takes him over, then eventually controls him. I think he's lost control. He's lost the plot. And now he's just spewing out nonsense, and just can't be trusted. It's so frustrating to hear that he would do that. He would tease all of us that this could be a really fun matchup and could be at the White House card and could be American versus American. Absolutely perfect. How much bigger would have Kobe been than Kyle Dawkins? But because Kobe just doesn't want to go out there and get embarrassed and lose, despite all him generating some hype, it's just very frustrating. I mean, what do you feel about this?
I used to feel like that, but I know you're an emotional being. It's just like with the John Jones situation. It's rinse and repeat. We've talked about it so much. I couldn't give a fuck. And even when he was brought up for the White House card, I couldn't care less. If he was on there, yes, I would love to see him get smashed, but never in a million years did I think that he'd actually take on a challenge. Colby Covington's living. Yes, this character has taken him over. The things he says, he just says the same thing about everybody. Oh, he sucks. Oh, he sucks. Like, it's not even new material anymore. I mean, it's every interview is the same. He'll try to prod them, at their family or their spouse at somewhere, try to get a reaction. And even the fighters have realized, this guy's a fucking joke. Just ignore him and he'll go away. And eventually Colby is going to go away.
I've actually thought at times that people say when you meet him, he's so nice, he's really friendly. Remember Brian Caraway said how great Colby is? I actually am starting to think that the character, the persona that he puts on is the real Colby, and the nice Colby that you meet in person in public that's the fake persona. That's the weird one. That's the imposter. I'm starting to think that because none of this makes sense. All right, we got a bunch of comments here. Andrew Nance gives the funny emoji. John Dong says, I'm actually excited for Nickel versus Dawkins. Tell us more. Tell us why you're excited. What about the matchup gets you excited? I'm not saying I'm not. I'm excited to see Bo Nickel, period. But Kyle Dawkins isn't a major name to me that this is such an incredible matchup. I think it's going to be a great fight regardless, and I'd love to see Bo Nickel get his profile elevated because I'm a big fan and continue to be a big fan despite the haters on Bo Nickel. But yes, so I'm excited from that vantage point. But tell me more about that. Western, who do you think wins? Okay, what's up, everybody? What a letdown this card is. We're going to talk about that. Listen. I felt the exact same way. I felt disappointment. I still feel disappointed. But when you hear the story, which I'm going to tell in a moment, of what they tried to put together, what they tried to pull off, and despite their best efforts, they couldn't, you're going to see that this is still a pretty darn good card. And this is the fight game. Sometimes these things happen. We see it behind the scenes at Fusion Fight League, obviously not on the same level, the same magnitude, but fighters fall out all the time. We had 16 fights on Thursday. By Saturday, we had 13. We had somebody pull out the morning of because of a weight miss, a 7 or 8 pound weight miss. So these things really do happen. Situation. That was a crazy situation, but these things happen. I think it's very difficult. It's easy to be critical of the UFC, but we have no idea how complex and how difficult running this business and getting these fighters to show up is. So I just wanted to put that out there. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm tempted to bet a bit on Dawkins. Interesting. No way. I think maybe. What do I know? What are the
odds? I don't know enough about Dawkins. I'm familiar with him. I'm familiar with his name, but I can't recall any of his fights or anybody he's fought before.
Okay, let me see right now. I'm imagining they're setting up Bo Nickel to win. Yeah, Bo Nickel's a minus 225, so he's a plus 170 Kyle Dawkins. I don't know. I need to watch. Oh, I'd love, dude, if you did a matchup video, a breakdown, that'd be really fun, Justin, at some point. Colby's a clown. He's trying to stay relevant. Yeah, I mean, no kidding. It's just so ridiculous at this point. Do we even call him a fighter? And I hate to say that as somebody who obviously doesn't have the balls myself to get in there, but it's infuriating. It really is infuriating. And I don't like people that lie. That's the thing that bothers me in general, is that he goes out, and you could say it's a character, but at some point we have to call a spade a spade. He does this to people. He pokes, he prods, and then when push comes to shove, he won't do it. And then he makes up stuff that is just very, very frustrating and very annoying. Western says, yeah, John, I'm saying, dude. Yeah, the whole thing about Colby being nice always rubs me the wrong way. He made fun of Leon's dead dad. Dude, that's insane. Exactly. You can't be a nice person and say stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Right? That's the fake Colby. The nice Colby is fake. Is it really just 6 fights? As of now, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they might throw Gable Stevenson on there as fight number 7 as the fight opener. That will be lit. Maybe that's an ace up their sleeve that they're holding on to, because they could probably get him for a good price too. And anybody will be willing to step up and fight him, I'm sure, to get some press coverage at the UFC White House card. So we'll see. Yeah, it's only 6 as of now. I'm excited for Dawkins versus Nickel because the UFC likes Nickel a lot, and he's relatively popular in MMA. So it's going to be interesting to see him fight a dark horse like Dawkins. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. All right, Justin, moving on up the card. We got Mauricio Hufi versus your favorite fighter in the UFC, Michael Chandler. Take it away. What do you think about this one?
Next. Don't care.
Oh, okay, well, MMA Joey was making fun of this fight. He said, hey,
stupid fight. Why? Like, what? This is the dumbest fight on the whole card, and it's like halfway on the card. Like, what? One of the biggest losers and the biggest letdowns in UFC history, Michael Chandler, is going to get fucking starched.
Okay, but it's less lame. You remember how you were upset about Conor versus Chandler as the battle of the losers?
It's not less lame than that. I'd much rather see Conor McGregor than Roofy.
I would too, but I thought you hated that fight because the reason
I hate the fight, and I hate this one even more. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. There's no bad beef. There's no background of these two guys. It's at 170. Like, Conor's been off for so long. Like, dude, he's going to get his legs chopped up. He's probably going to get his leg re-broken, and Roofy's just going to have his way with him. Conor McGregor has no chance. Not Conor McGregor. Michael Chandler has no chance. This is a stupid fight.
That's what everybody's saying. No, the only reason why I thought it was cool is because Mauricio Hufi has a fun fight style. But the funny thing is he fights like Conor. He has the wide stance. So MMA Joey was saying
way too big.
They're
going to be way too big.
Probably. Yeah, you're right. But they're giving him the Conor McGregor clone just so hoping he doesn't know the difference, and so he could have some. Yeah, save
you know that
some.
Roofy or not Chandler lost to Paddy Pimblett, right? Like this guy isn't good anymore. Like, here's the thing: I like Michael Chandler. He's a former teammate of mine. Works his ass off. He was an incredible fighter at one time. He's just not anymore. He's 2-6 in the UFC. He hasn't won in forever. And why? I can't even believe he's on this card. I think this is a waste of a spot.
Man, yeah, I think they're trying to throw him a bone because probably also a lot of other things fell through, but they're probably throwing him a bone because
why
they feel bad about the Conor fight.
Who cares? They didn't feel bad for me when they gave me fucking 3 fights on short notice, and or 4 fights on short notice. Like, they don't feel bad. It's a business. What do they owe Michael Chandler? Michael Chandler has no pay-per-view sells. Now, who they owe to is Conor McGregor. They do owe Conor McGregor. He's made him so much money through the years. Conor McGregor can go lose twice in a row to Dustin Poirier, who's not a top contender anymore, and still they're going to take care of him when he comes back. They owe him essentially for past due. Chandler is 2-6. Like, he hasn't done anything in the UFC. His one win is over Tony Ferguson, who is on a 7-fight win streak. His other win,
7-fight losing streak,
losing streak, exactly. And then Dan Hooker in his debut. That after he beat Dan Hooker, it's like, oh, he does have a future here. But then look what Dan Hooker's done since then as well. Like, he's 2-6, dude. He fucking sucks.
You're right, actually. You're right. When you say the UFC doesn't owe anybody anything, you're absolutely right, actually. I guess maybe because he's got big name value and he's an American fighter.
Big name value? Come on, man. Like, who would you really like? Hey, we got 16 people in chat right now. Out of you 16, who is excited to watch Michael Chandler fight anybody? Who gives a fuck? Like, he's boring. And then when he fought Charles Oliveira, what he was doing when Charles was on his back is actually like the anti thing of what to do. Like, that's not what you do. Like, everybody knows this. Slam him back. Oh, look how strong. I'm just gonna stand up and slam him on this springboard that we fight on. Like, it's not like it's a solid surface that he can break his back or something. There's some absorption in a cage. Like, that's why people can pick each other up and slam them on each other's heads, and we can recover. There's so much padding and protection. It was just stupid. And Michael Chandler retired, dude. Get out of here.
So Western agrees with you. He said it's absurd that Chandler is still fighting. Is he ranked? I think he's still in the top 15. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, it is a bit absurd. Tehran says Chandler hasn't won a fight since 274 against Ferguson. That's coming 4 years. Oh my God. That's so crazy. I kind of forget that because he's always around. He's always on media. He has exciting fights. I think, I actually like the Paddy Pimblett fight, even though he got smashed, but it was a really fun fight to see Paddy do so well. But I guess that feeds into your point that Chandler maybe is past way past his prime. Western says it's criminal if he's still ranked. Okay, I'm going to check right now. I'm pretty sure he's ranked. Let me see right now. Hold on. What do you think? If you had a bet right now, is Michael Chandler ranked?
I mean, how high are we going with the rankings? Top 3, top 5, top 10, 15?
Top 15. The one on the UFC website.
I think so.
Michael Chandler, number 13. There he is. He's still ranked. So he's still in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Enough about this fight. But yeah, I think Mauricio Hufi is going to get the win. It'll be fun for his profile and his brand. And I think ultimately that's why the UFC is doing this. They want to push Hufi as a star. He's got a really fun fight style. He had a great victory in the last fight. And so we'll see what happens. Mauricio Hufi, right? He beat, what's that guy's name? I'm blanking on his last opponent. Hold on. Hufi's last opponent. It was a good fight, back and forth. A lot of people picked against Hufi. Yeah, it was Fiziev. There we go. Yeah, Rafael Fiziev. No, it's not at 170. It's at 155, right? Isn't this fight at 155?
I don't know.
Hufi's
that's what I was asking, because I know Chandler was talking about going to 70.
I think for he was going to do anything to fight Conor, but I think,
just for Conor.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And Tehran said he also beat Dan Hooker back in January 2021. That's 5 years ago. All right, enough about Justin's favorite fighter, Michael Chandler. All right, let's move on to O'Malley versus Zahabi. This is an interesting one. Faraz Zahabi's brother, Ayman Zahabi. A lot of people are saying this is a tailor-made fight, a tailor-made matchup for Sean O'Malley to go out there and get the victory. Hence, that's why the UFC has made this fight. Justin, let me turn over to you. You can talk about the matchup, or you can just talk about if you're excited to see Sean O'Malley, period, on the White House card.
You know my feelings towards that's why you just said that. I'm excited to see Sean O'Malley. Obviously, we're a big fan of Sean O'Malley out of Montana, one of the nicest guys you could ever meet for the star power he has. But fighting this guy that I know absolutely nothing about, must be a tailor-made matchup. The UFC loves Sean Shelby. He's a fan favorite. He's a great person in the ring, out of the ring. They're setting him up for a win. They're not going to set up Zahabi up to come to the White House card and beat one of the biggest superstars on the American soil right now.
So just so you know, Amin Zahabi, he's on a 7-fight win streak. Although he is 38 years of age, he's pretty up there, especially for the bantamweight division. I don't know how that will play into the equation, but he most recently beat Pedro Munoz, Jose Aldo, and Chito Marlon Vera. That was back in October when he beat Marlon Vera, and that was a split decision, whereas you look at what Sean O'Malley did to him, he absolutely smashed him. I don't know if that's any indication of how this matchup will go, but I heard MMA Guru say basically the way that Amin Zahabi fights, he kind of fights with a lot of movement and similar to, and I need to sit down and watch his fights at some point to tell you guys more, but based on what MMA Guru says, he said this is a tailor-made matchup, that Sean O'Malley's too quick, too slick, he's too fast, his striking is too accurate, and that ultimately he's going to get the victory. But I'm here for it. Look, could there have been other more interesting matchups? I know a lot of people are really mad that they didn't do Corey Sandhagen. According to Sean O'Malley, that was never discussed. That was never on the table. The UFC never reached out to Sandhagen. Obviously, they didn't want that fight, and I think they wanted to give Sean O'Malley a more tailor-made matchup for his fight style. Now, could he have beaten Corey Sandhagen? I believe he could have, but for whatever reason, the UFC went this way, and it is what it is. But I'm just happy, period, that Sean O'Malley is on the card. So I'm a big fan of this featured fight, regardless of what the naysayers are saying. All right, now we move on to the co-main. Oh my God. I was so upset. Here. So obviously, if you saw our show on Friday with Dino from the other 10-7 channel, we were saying how we were so sure it was going to be Pereira versus Jones, and we were excited about it. We thought they were going to strip Tom Aspinall. I'm not saying I dislike Tom Aspinall by any means, but I thought they were going to strip him for the heavyweight strap, make it vacant for John Jones, make it this momentous occasion, this incredible fight. But alas, that did not happen. I'm going to tell you what exactly did happen, according to Ariel Helwani. But alas, it did not happen. And so they had to move some things around. Pereira was no longer going to be the main event. They slotted him in at the co-main because they decided, hey, if it's him versus Gane, let's make it an interim title. So we got Alex Pereira challenging for triple gold. First ever time anybody in the history of the sport has tried for triple gold, despite the fact it's interim, but it's still gold. Justin, take it away. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, it's a little bit of a letdown here. Obviously, I want to see Pereira fight, but I don't know, man. This is a co-main event slot. Like, I think the UFC got it right by putting it in the co-main. I mean, I'm just not a big Gane fan, man. It's not just for this John Jones loss. I mean, like, how many title shots is this guy going to get? Like, man, they just keep, and then they're like, oh well, he's going for triple gold, but it's an interim belt. I don't know, man. There's just a lot of asterisks next to it. You know, Cyril Gane never beat Tom Aspinall. Now he's fighting for an interim belt, and they're going to try, if Tom Aspinall comes back, they're going to try to unify. I don't know, man. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, I guess it's kind of a cool storyline. Just kind of has to take a little bit longer to play out. Pereira wins interim belt. Now Tom Aspinall comes back, and they have a rematch. So that could be a cool storyline right now. But we're talking about UFC White House card. And for the White House card, like I say, I see the storyline value, but I'm not overly excited about this fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. I'm going to read some comments really quickly. Mr. Clapper did say, yes, the Chandler fight's at 155. And to think Chandler's second fight was for the title, he actually was doing good. He had Charles Oliveira hurt really badly in that fight, if you guys remember way back in the day 5 years ago. From what I heard, the UFC wanted to book Corey Sandhagen. I don't think that's true. O'Malley declined, unless O'Malley's lying, but I doubt it. He said that on Ariel's show that he never got offered that shot. Louis Springen might be a new member here, or a new watcher. Welcome to the channel. Chandler refused to update his skill set and tactics. Do you agree with that?
I do, yeah. Chandler, man, he's an incredible wrestler. All he does now is just brawl, and it's so easy to just pick apart because he's slowing down with age. Here's the thing. Speed's one of the first things to go with age. Power stays. He's still very, very powerful. He's still very, very strong. You've seen his fights. You look at his physique. Obviously, the guy looks like a Greek god, essentially, and it's just, the sport left him behind. And, I almost felt like that with myself. Like, I was very stubborn about staying in my same stance, for my stance, for instance, staying in an orthodox stance, moving my head side to side. But right now, you look at these amateur guys, they can fight orthodox, they can fight southpaw. Their hands are down, they're in, they're out. It's just the evolution of the game left Mike Chandler behind a long time ago.
Okay, very, very interesting. Mr. Clapper says, I believe what Toron said. You really think they offered him Corey Sandhagen? Let's see what Corey Sandhagen says. Let's see if he comes out and says otherwise. But I don't know. I believe
We'll
Sean
see.
O'Malley.
We'll see Sean O'Malley in Great Falls next month.
Oh yeah.
Why don't we just ask him?
All right. Well, ask him and Tim Welch. We'll see what happens. Tim Welch was at the show last Saturday. Oh my God.
Tim would answer that question 100%, dude. Tim's super cool.
Guys, I did something horrible on the broadcast. I'm still so mad about it. I called.
Wasn't that big of a deal.
Wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a big deal to me. I was thinking maybe Andrew Schultz. I don't know why that name popped in my head. I called Tim Welch Tim Schultz. And like Tim Welch, guys, obviously everybody at Fusion knows who he is. He's a Montana guy. Everybody loves Sean O'Malley came up in Fusion Fight League. And on the broadcast, I said Tim Schultz. And immediately in our ear, our producer was like, it's Tim Welch. It's Tim Welch. I'm like, oh my God, I met Tim Welch. I'm like, I'm such a big fan of his. I watch his YouTube channel all the time. I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. And then we saw Tim at the airport when we were flying back. I almost went up to him and apologized, but I'm like, I'm just gonna let it be because he probably didn't hear it, but still, it's pretty. I was pretty mad that I did that. Louis said if he's talking about Michael Chandler, if he did, he could beat some of the upper level guys, maybe sometimes. O'Malley said today he's never been. Oh yeah, that's what I heard on Ariel's show. I'm picking Gane to beat Alex. Very interesting. I mean, I know some people are, but I'm praying that Alex Pereira wins, even though I like Gane a lot, but I do. It'd be so cool if Alex. How can you go not want Alex Pereira to win? He's the best, man. He's incredible. Louis Springen says O'Malley should be fighting Sandhagen or even Peyton. He's not going to fight. Look, hey, Wellmaker, are you talking about what, dude? Wellmaker, no way, dude. I mean, listen. Would I love Sean O'Malley versus Peyton Talbot one day? Yeah, but like, dude, he's right there contending for the belt. So it'd be a little crazy to have him fight Peyton Talbot. If he loses this fight, okay, I could see that. But they would never do that. I would love it though. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they would do it. Or Wellmaker. Yeah, I figured you were talking about Wellmaker. Oh no, the embarrassment. Yeah, it was embarrassing. It was terrible. If Alex loses this fight, will he retire? Oh man, I don't even want to answer that question. Let's not even.
I don't think he will. I mean, with his competitive edge and nature, like he's gonna want to go out on a win.
So let me now tell you guys. And by the way, Louisa sent me something about John Jones. I think what he said on his Twitter. We can check that out in a second. But let me tell you what Ariel said. So Pereira versus Gane, not what we were expecting. And apparently this came together like Thursday or Friday, like very late in the game. They were in deep negotiations with John Jones. So John Jones, when Dana White says, we were never even considering him for the White House, no way. And he was like angry about it. I knew that was BS because why is Dana White so mad? This guy has arthritis and blah. And he was angry when he discussed it. I'm like, nah, you don't want to admit that you were dealing with John Jones because now you look like the organization looks foolish for negotiating with him again after he did what he did with Tom Aspinall. That's why he kept saying what he was saying. He didn't want to say publicly, yeah, the guy burned us, but we're going to try again because that would look stupid, right? So they were doing it behind closed doors. They were keeping it close to the vest, and they were trying to get there. Now, according to Ariel Helwani, they were very far apart in the money. And I believe that because John Jones was offered $30 million in good faith. He accepted in good faith. The UFC were planning around that in good faith. And then he just pulled the rug out from everybody and said, no, I'm not going to do it. Of course, they're not going to come back with a big offer here. That there is no way they would be like anywhere close to 30 million. Plus, it's the White House card. They can get a lot, and they can get a lot of other people who'd be happy to do it for way less because of how big this event's going to be. And I actually thought John Jones would be willing to play would be willing to negotiate down because he's like, all right, I kind of screwed you guys over, and this would be such an amazing event. I'll do it for way less. Apparently, according to Ariel Helwani, he wouldn't. They were very far apart. They weren't even close to coming to a middle ground. Ultimately, they had to abandon that. They gave Cyril Gane the call, and they slotted him in. Now, another thing you guys don't know, Ali Abdelaziz, when he teased that something very big was in the works for Islam's next fight, it was Ilya versus Islam. That's the fight they were trying to make. So apparently they asked Ilya Taporia. Ilya wasn't going to be on the card. He had heard nothing. And then at last week, according to Ariel Helwani, they called Ilya Taporia and they said, one question for you. If you are on this White House card, would you rather fight Justin Gaethje to defend the title or move up to fight Islam at 170? He said Islam. That's all they asked him. That's all they asked him. Hung up the phone. Then they started working on it with Islam. They were in the process of putting that together. And then at the last minute, Ali Abdelaziz called and said Islam can't do it because apparently he has a broken hand. So he has an injury right now. That's why he won't be ready by the time the White House card rolls around. Then they called Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje, I guess, didn't hear about this until, and I think he heard about this on Saturday or like Friday night. So he heard about it the very last minute. And again, you remember Ilia Toporia's manager, who's also John Jones' manager, was on the phone all night with the UFC all through Saturday morning, working out the details. So Ilia got slotted in there late because the John Jones thing fell apart, but they needed a title shot, and Islam fell out at the last minute. So you guys see all the moving pieces. They really did try, I think, in my opinion, in good faith, to make this an absolute banger. Imagine if we would have had Islam versus Ilia. Imagine if we would have had John Jones versus Cyril Gane. Unfortunately, the pieces didn't come together, and I don't think it's fair to blame the UFC like I've heard a lot of people doing. I think it's just, this is negotiation. They tried their best. They couldn't make it happen within their budget for whatever reason, and that's how it goes. But ultimately, we are left with what I think is a pretty cool main event. I know people are not excited about it because of the odds and because of what people think about the matchup. But ultimately, we're at the top with Ilia versus Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting fighters in the history of UFC. Ilia's just an incredible fighter on a tear, poised to be maybe one of the greatest of all time, defending the title. And don't just think that this is one-way traffic, that Ilia is going to KO Gaethje in an instant, because I think that doesn't give due credit to the sport of mixed martial arts, the way these fights can go, and Justin Gaethje, who's got like the greatest bone density in the history of the UFC. So I am going to be excited. I am going to put money on Gaethje, and I'm going to be super rooting for Gaethje because it'd be an amazing underdog story. Justin, take it away. At the top of the bill, we have Ilia versus Gaethje, the fight you wanted from the get-go. What are your thoughts?
Couple things. Before I get into that, I need to correct you on something, and you keep saying this, but we need to correct it. All right. You keep saying Justin Gaethje, arguably one of the most entertaining fighters in the history of the UFC. It's not arguable. Justin Gaethje is the most entertaining fighter to ever grace the octagon, ever. There's no debate. Every fight he's been in, he's got a performance bonus. Nobody has done that. People have got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 100% of the time he steps in the octagon, he has not had a boring fight. So we need to straighten this narrative out with everybody. Justin Gaethje is the most entertaining guy. He has done so much for the UFC. Look what he did for UFC 300, taking Max Holloway on. This guy is the most deserving guy. I don't care about John Jones. I don't care about that man. I'm glad that matchup got scratched. Fuck that guy. That guy's done nothing. He has more fights than Justin Gaethje, and I'm not even talking about from a percentage standpoint. Whether it's 100% or 75, how many performance bonuses? He has less performance bonuses than Justin Gaethje. And he's had more fights. So let's say he had 20 fights and 15. Oh, he has the same. No, he has less. Fuck John Jones. He's undeserving. Justin Gaethje deserves this. Justin Gaethje's done everything right for the fans, everything right by the UFC. Anybody that says Justin Gaethje, they're not excited about this fight is high. He's just going to go in there knocked out. Maybe, but that's what MMA is about. That's what we want to see. We want to see guys go out on their shield. And let's say this is David versus Goliath in real time. Justin Gaethje, the huge underdog, the old lumberjack slugger that's just going to trudge forward and eat shots and try to persevere through some of the hardest times of the fight. This is Britain versus the USA, man. This is the best fight that we could have made. Especially the stars are lining up. The stars lined up for Justin Gaethje to get this matchup. Now he has this incredible opportunity to defy all the odds and to represent what America is all about. Dude, there's no fuck John Jones. Fuck that faggot. Are you serious? I don't want to see this guy fight. He's done nothing. All right. Something just popped up. You're tapping the mic. He's done nothing. He's so undeserving. Yeah. Oh, he's arguably the greatest of all time. Arguably. Well, Justin Gaethje's the most entertaining fighter of all time, and he's stepped up time and time again. And even in loss, even with the Max Holloway loss, he was able to rebound from that. He's had some wins since then. All right, who's Paddy Pimblett? He just smashed Paddy Pimblett. Who else has he fought since
Rafael Fiziev? He beat him.
Fiziev beat Fiziev, and I know people don't give him credit for that. But guess what? That's a tough dude. And Ilia Topuria, I commend him for saying he wants the tougher opponent, Islam. I love that, man. That would have been an awesome fight. That fight I would have been okay with. but this is the fight I want. Actually, at that fight, I would have been really excited a lot. There's 2 fights I would have thought would have been really cool with Islam. Islam versus Ian in the main event, and then you have Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje in the co-main event. And then if Ilia wins and Islam wins, now we have the storyline for the super fight tailored off the UFC White House card, which I thought would have been fucking awesome. But John Jones is not anybody I cared to see on the card. I know you were really excited about it. And every time you talked about it, I was just like, there's just no way. There's just no way. Like, he's just so undeserving. He's almost more undeserving than Mike Chandler.
I get everything you're saying. A lot of truth behind what you're saying. And yeah, I had my reasons for nostalgia for this idea of GOAT versus GOAT. The winner takes all. Winner is the GOAT of the sport. But I understand what you're saying. Let's come back to talk about Justin Gaethje versus Ilia. Everybody's going crazy. It's plus 400 to bet on Justin Gaethje. They think he has no chance. And I think that's why some people are not so excited about it. But you're a fighter. You've been in there. Talk to us about realistically, especially with Trevor Whitman in his corner, being able to create an amazing game plan, which they did against Paddy Pimblett. Talk to me about really, I mean, Gaethje can win, and tell us how he can win.
Of course he can win. He can knock him out with one punch, like at any time. Like these people are saying, oh, Justin get knocked out. Probably that's why he's plus 400. But at any time in the first round or the 5th round, he can knock Ilia Topuria out with one punch. He could at any time. He might just walk over in the first round, bang, one punch, dead. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, fighting is the greatest sport in the world because you have that one shot that can change the fight. You look at Derek Lewis when he fought. Man, I'm trying to think who he's fought. I can never remember. Volkov, yeah, where he's winning and there's 4 seconds left and he's lost every round, every minute of the fight. Boom, one punch knocks him out. What? That's why MMA is so exciting. That's why this is the great matchup. Again, repeated, David versus Goliath. Yes, Justin Gaethje is expected to lose, but what if he doesn't lose? And then he can ride off in the sunset, being the most entertaining fight, being a fighter in the history of the sport, being the UFC champion, defying all the odds. This is a perfect setup. And think of all the things that had to happen for him. John Jones' negotiation had to fall through. Islam had to be hurt for this fight to happen. Like, all these things in the background that you've talked about had to happen for this to line up. Perfect, because this wasn't the first choice. Now he has the opportunity to go out there, a true American, and known for persevering through ass whoopings, and try to persevere through Ilia Topuria. I can see Justin Gaethje getting dropped in the first round, dropped in the second round, and then knocking him out in the third round. And how awesome of a fight! And I know you love when guys take guys down and hump their leg and hold them down because it's so dominant. But I love guys fucking getting dropped and coming back and knocking motherfuckers out late in the fight.
Okay, think about this too. Has Ilia Topuria ever really been hit clean at 155?
I think not at 155 he hasn't. And Tehran would be able to tell me this better, but I think there was a fight to where he had to persevere through some hard times where he got dropped or something, like, if I remember correctly, he got dropped and he came back and won the fight.
I'm pretty sure you're talking about his fight against Jai Herbert, but Tehran, let us know if I got that name wrong. I could look it up, of course, but yeah, he did have to persevere, and he did persevere. But he did an amazing
Jai
job.
Herbert, who? That's not Justin Gaethje.
Right,
That's
right,
not
right.
He doesn't have the power of Justin Gaethje. So he's been put down by smaller guys. Justin Gaethje, I mean, it's going to be awesome.
Talk about this too. Patricia Leanne Show says 5 rounds of Justin leg kicks will be deadly as well. Talk about the leg kicks against Ilia's style. Do you think they're going to have especially a good impact there?
I mean, it just depends, because if you remember in his last fight, I really thought he was going to use his leg kicks against Paddy, and he didn't. And so I was really surprised about that. And Ilia's a good wrestler, good grappler. So I'm not sure if he's going to go to his leg kicks. I do agree though. 5 rounds of Justin leg kicks would be deadly. And I think that in every fight, because man, he just throws it with just no disregard. Doesn't care if he kicks you in the kneecap, doesn't care if he kicks you in the calf, the quad. He's trying to kick essentially your back, kick through your front leg to hit your back leg. But for whatever reason against Paddy Pimblett, he kind of abandoned that game plan, which I thought he was really going to stick to. And I'm wondering if he abandons that game plan in this fight as well.
It was intentional. He said it was by design because he said he got taken down by Fazia because of the leg kick. So that's why he didn't do it. And I think Paddy, it would have been a little different. I mean, again, Ilia Topuria, like you said, don't sleep on his grappling. He's actually, grappling was his first martial art. So he's very comfortable. He used to be getting submissions and takedowns all the time. So you're right. He may come out with a similar game plan, but I wonder the size, it's going to be a different size. Paddy is huge. So maybe he'll be more comfortable shucking off the takedown attempts or the grappling attempts times. I don't know if that's any of this is true. I'm just kind of spouting off here, but I just hope that we see the good old classic Justin Gaethje leg kicks. That's how I became such a fan of him in the first place, because early in the days when I started watching him, I didn't know anything about calf kicks and these low leg kicks. And I started watching it and I thought it was so interesting because most people early on, especially, right, head hunting or body hunting, maybe going for liver shots, things like that. But what an interesting strategy to go for this little muscle on the bottom of the leg, just break down the foundation systematically to ultimately get a win. So I would love to see a return to some amazing calf kicks, and we can see what they will do. By the way, don't forget, he landed a ton of calf kicks against none other than Khabib. Khabib's legs were bruised and battered from Justin Gaethje until he got that last takedown, eventually put him in that triangle choke. But he was lighting Khabib up. I think he hit him with like 5 or 6 really hard calf kicks. And you can attest to this. You tell me if this is true or not true, but I've heard many fighters say the calf kicks, you can't take too many of those because you don't have much cushion there. You don't have much padding there. And so the pain and the damage happens very, very quickly. Is that true in your experience?
Yeah, it's very true. Sometimes you just hit that nerve, right? If you watch Michael Chandler when he was in Bellator, he got his leg kicked out so bad from him, he couldn't even walk and ended up getting TKO'd from the kicks because he couldn't get up anymore.
That's so wild. That's a baller thing. Any fighter who can get a TKO from leg kicks, that's insane. Mr. Clapper says, well, yeah, every fighter has a chance, but I don't know, talking about Gaethje versus Topuria. I love it. Tehran's picking Gaethje. I love it. I love it. Jai Herbert, Tehran said, did hurt Ilia Topuria. Yes, shout out to Jai Herbert. Patricia Leandro says, Josh Emmett 5 rounds versus Topuria. And we also have Louis Springen. Gaethje is going to have to get lucky and do that hold and hitting thing he does that people don't talk. You're talking about clinch and hitting him in the clinch. Is that what you mean? That people don't talk about as he's good at. But I think he might get countered hard going for kicks. Could be. I don't. I mean, yeah, maybe he'll get countered hard. Weston says Ilya was scared of Emmett's power for good reason. This is a banger fight. And I mean, I think between Josh Emmett, who's got a lot of power, and Justin Gaethje, though, at a higher weight class, I think Gaethje's got the power advantage, I would imagine. All right, there it is, guys. We have waxed poetic for long enough about this White House card. We got a lot of other topics to talk about. God, what is going on here? But anyways, I think hopefully we gave you guys a good summary of all the drama that went on behind this White House card, what we're ultimately left with. And I'll say this as we close out about the White House card. Let's be real. This is an A to A+ White House card. It's just disappointing based on the hype. But when are you going to see Alex Pereira co-main ever? And Sean O'Malley, the third featured fight, and Ilia Topuria at the top with Justin Gaethje. Let's be real here. I know Justin doesn't like Michael Chandler, but I'm stoked that he's on there because it's going to be a fun fight.
It's not that I don't like Michael Chandler. I just don't think he's deserving of this high of a resume fight.
Fair enough. But we got Michael Chandler in the mix, and he's probably going to get KO'd by Mauricio Hufi, and it's going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a really fun fight. I think that's also probably part of the calculus as to why he's on there. Bo Nickal's a star. Bo Nickal's a legend. I'm looking forward to seeing Bo Nickal get in there. And Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez was just a headliner back in whatever it was, January against Volkanovski, and now he's the 6th fight on the card, effectively on the prelims, if you will, for this card. So it is a very, very good card. We are just getting lost in the shuffle of Conor McGregor and John Jones and Alex Pereira and Ilia Topuria versus Islam, like all these fantastical notions. And that's not our fault, right? A lot of smoke was blown in our direction from the UFC. But all things being equal, once the dust settles, this is a banger of a card. And I'm looking forward to June 14th, 3 days before my birthday. And Patricia Leon says, banger, let's go. Alex better fight Gane with goggles on. Nah, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Okay, moving forward. Justin, your boy, your teammate, it was just announced after he got released from PFL. Shortly thereafter, he is announcing that he is fighting on Netflix. I'm going to pull up his opponent. I can't remember his name. But I said this, guys, in a video. The thing about Netflix and Jake Paul partnering here, I said, be on the lookout. If this event goes well, this is the one partnership that could actually challenge the UFC in MMA. Nobody else can do it appropriately because of the TV deals, the viewership deals. But you do it. You're partnering with Netflix. If this show goes well and they decide to start putting on more MMA events with a lot of fighters that are out of the UFC and out from under their contract, dude, buckle up. It's going to be insane. I mean, these guys will be pulling 10 million, 15, 20 million concurrent viewers with some of the name value that some of these guys can bring. I mean, imagine if John Jones can get out of his contract, which I doubt he will. I'm sure he's going to be locked in there for at least 5 years or maybe longer. But imagine if he can get out of that contract and you get John, I don't care if they're 45 when they fight, you get John Jones versus Francis Ngannou.
That's mega. Tyson's 60.
There you go. Exactly. So this is a formidable opponent to the UFC, the first ever that's actually reasonable, that could actually take on and really challenge the UFC, which I think is going to be a rising tide that raises all ships. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting theater that's going to unfold in the MMA world. But hold on, let me pull up his next
boxing or MMA.
No, it's MMA. It's MMA.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, he's fighting Philip Lins in a 5-weight heavyweight co-main event. And this guy actually was a PFL champion. Are you familiar with Philippe Lins? Lins? And he's actually beaten there's a press conference actually here tomorrow in LA. I'd love to go if I can do it, but this guy has beaten, if you remember OSP, Ovin St. Preux, a former UFC guy. So he's beaten some real competition. I don't know what the odds are going to be in this matchup, but it's crazy now. We got Gina Carano and we've got, of course, Ronda Rousey and now Francis Ngannou. Justin, take it away. What are your thoughts on this news?
Man, Francis has been going through some really tough personal times here these last couple of years, suffering that brutal knockout loss and then other things I don't even want to talk about. But, to see him step back in the MMA cage, he's going to make a lot of money. It's going to be on Netflix. They're going to have 20 million viewers. He's more than deserving. Dana White doesn't really have many things nice to say about him, but I'll tell you what, I got nothing but good things to say about him. He's always been really nice and cordial with me. Joking around, he's very close with Eric Nixick's son, and I always see him playing with Eric Nixick's son, around the cage. I don't know, the guy just rubs me in such a good way, and after all the things he's had to deal with for the last couple of years, I'm really happy for him. He's very deserving of this.
How much do you think he's going to get?
I don't want to speculate, man. It could be tens of millions. Who knows?
I think it's going to be 10 million. I think it's going to be something like what the PFL was supposed to pay him for his next fight. I think it's going to be 10 million or somewhere around there. And I think they're going to post it everywhere to, again, maybe throw a little shade at the UFC. I don't know what's going on with the Netflix, because UFC is on good terms with Netflix. They were talking to them, and I think they're still talking to them for maybe lining something up in the future. But, MVP, that's kind of going against the UFC. This is crazy. We got a crazy landscape here, but I'm excited to see Francis Ngannou. This fight's in LA in May. I might even go. I don't know, man. I kind of want to see Francis. Well, let's see. Maybe not. Maybe it won't be. Yeah, it might be expensive, but I do know some people. You never know. Maybe I can figure out some discounted tickets. That'd be amazing, but we shall see. Western says, pause. What, did we say something that was suspect? I don't know what we said, but yeah, I'm excited for this announcement. And Francis Ngannou, still arguably to many people the baddest man on the planet. So we shall see. Now let's talk some Tom Aspinall, Eddie Hearn situation. So Tom Aspinall announced on Thursday that he is now being managed by Eddie Hearn, Dana White's new biggest rival and competitor in the world of boxing. Dana White's calling Eddie Hearn every name in the game, the P word, saying he's weak competition, he's beating up babies. And then Eddie Hearn strikes back, although he's claiming, hey, I'm not doing this to strike back. It's like total BS. Obviously, he's doing this to attack back at Dana White. He's going to use the fact that he's managing Tom Aspinall to attack the UFC. He's already begun, saying he looked at all of Tom Aspinall's purses and was shocked how little he's making. So the battle's begun. Apparently, other UFC fighters are lining up to be managed by Eddie Hearn. I got to say, though, he said he's gotten calls from dozens of fighters. Is he lying? Is he exaggerating? I don't know. I don't think this is a good move at all. I said this from the get-go. I get it. Tom Aspinall, right? His profile is being raised. Eddie Hearn's going to promote him, but he's under contract with the UFC. The UFC can Tom Aspinall drag out his contract for the next 5 years and potentially destroy his career in fighting and in the future. I don't know if they will or not, but they could do that. What is the point of having Eddie Hearn come in, regardless of his experience in the fight game and what he can do? What is the point when they have such a negative relationship with him already? They're going head-to-head in boxing. They're going to try and make him look bad, just like he's trying to make them look bad. So I think, look, maybe I'm wrong, and time will tell, but I just do not think this was a smart move. I actually think it was a bad move from Eddie, because Eddie's just using Tom, admittedly, as a pawn, and he thinks it's maybe will give him some leverage here and there. I don't think it will. And I think it's ultimately going to hurt Tom Aspinall, might even hurt Eddie Hearn. But yeah, I think it's real. I think this is going to be really, really bad for Tom Aspinall. Justin, what are your thoughts as somebody who's also had to deal with and negotiate with the UFC?
Yeah, man, that's kind of a big no-no, man. Why would you go against somebody that your boss does, or sign with somebody that your boss doesn't get along with? I do know managers that the matchmaker Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard will not talk to, for regardless circumstance, and that could be a similar situation. So I don't see how this is advantageous for Tom Aspinall in any way.
This is exactly what Ariel Helwani said as soon as the news came out. Wow, it's exciting, it's cool, but ultimately the UFC chooses who to talk to. There are certain managers that say, you're not allowed in the room. We'll talk to your fighter, but if you're going to be there, sorry, we're not talking, we're not negotiating, we're not dealing with you. Some people have actually been pressured by the UFC, according to Ariel Helwani, and actually left their managers to go to other management teams because the UFC would not deal with their managers.
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, Dana White's not, obviously publicly, he's trying to act like it's whatever. It's not a big deal, but it's so bad. It's so bad. How did they come? I feel like Tom Aspinall and his dad, and look, listen, I'm trying not to be judgmental here. I am judging from afar, or I'm analyzing from afar. So it's probably a million moving pieces. But look at the moves that his dad has made, talking about how he wants to go box. He doesn't want to extend his contract. Why would you ever say that publicly? Why would you say that to anybody outside of your team? Number one. Number two, Tom Aspinall, with the whole eye debacle and the crazy stuff and get releasing all the footage. And then now the decision from Andy and Tom to sign with Eddie Hearn, I do not see it as being any sort of a good move. Now, a lot of people said Francis made a terrible move when he left the UFC, but look how it worked out for him. It worked out brilliantly. He's gotten major paydays. He had an MMA fight in PFL, got paid a ton. Now he's fighting on Netflix. So I guess it did work, but I really do think that's the exception by and large than the rule. And I think Francis I don't know, man. I think he just knows his stuff, and for whatever reason, he's just really, really on top of things, and he was able to make things work. I just don't see that happening with Tom Aspinall's team. I think I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. Do you agree with everything I'm saying for the most part, or is there anything you disagree with?
No, I agree with you 100%, man. I just don't think this was a good move. But yeah, when you talk about Francis, he made money not fighting. He made money in the PFL. He got that one fight. Now he's going to the Netflix. That's even going to be bigger. I think Netflix is even going to be bigger than Paramount, because there are still a lot of people that, Netflix was the first streaming platform. But the reason I have Netflix is it's one of the first. The reason a lot of people I don't have Paramount yet. I've been bootlegging it still from other people's accounts yet. So there's still a lot of people like me, even as an MMA fan, haven't transitioned to Paramount just yet.
So we got a couple comments here we're going to read. And yeah, I think you're right, man. Some people, they said that they're even thinking this Netflix card could be bigger than the White House card. I don't know about that. Oh, who knows, man? Who knows? Like you said, there's 300+ million subscribers on Netflix. So maybe, but I'd be so upset if it's bigger than the White House card. That would just be a slap in the face to me as a UFC fan. I mean, it's nostalgic, but come on, Ronda Rousey, hasn't fought in forever. More people are interested in that than Ilya versus Gaethje. It's infuriating, dude. And Alex Pereira, come on, dog. It's infuriating. But anyways, Western says, I liked 326. We're going to talk about 326 in a moment, guys. Impressed that Max managed not to get subbed. That's fair. Real BMF is Taporia. He KO'd both. Yeah, that's what Ariel was saying on the show today. For a BMF fight, it was not exciting. I'm going to give you my opinion because it's going to be a hot take here in a moment. Tom made a dumb decision. Yeah, you're in agreement. Tom ain't making no money not fighting. Agreed. Francis versus Jake's jaw. Oh, my God. Yeah, Francis did say, hey, maybe I'll fight Jake soon. Okay, let's talk about it. We had a huge fight card over the weekend. We're almost an hour into the show. We're finally talking about the main event, but let's talk about it. So obviously a lot of criticism here. Obviously, I'm sure it wasn't Justin's favorite fight style. It's not his type of fight. I'm going to say that this is my title that I said Charles is a true BMF. Charles is a true BMF. He's the definition of BMF. Let me tell you why. There were expectations on Charles to go out there and give a bang out brawl. There were expectations for this to be a battle for the ages. There were expectations for people to come away being like, man, this was incredible. Charles did not care. Charles said, we have a game plan. We know how to win. We're going to execute it. Max has major gaps and deficiencies on the ground, and we're going to take advantage of it, and we're going to dominate him. And that's what they did. And to me, I think Charles Oliveira, this makes him a true BMF because he does not give an F of what anybody thinks. And he went out and he annihilated Max Holloway. You think, dude, now I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to beat Max Holloway if they employ a similar strategy. Yeah, when they were on the feet, Max was fast. He was slick. He was faster than Charles for sure. In my opinion, when I watched that fight, Charles had some moments on the feet too and some good shots connected. But if they would have stayed on the feet, I think Max would have had his number. Brilliant game plan by Charles. I'm blown away. I'm impressed. I think he should get a lot of credit for having the balls to fight that way when you know the expectations for a BMF fight. Justin, what are your thoughts? Agree or disagree?
You know my thoughts on this. I want to see a knockdown, drag him out fight. I know you love the dominant wins, and when you look at Charles's whole history of being in the UFC, coming in, taking some losses early, coming all the way back, becoming the champion, losing his belt, then coming on this journey and getting back to the BMF championship or getting to the BMF championship. I think it's a great feather in his cap. I'm a huge Charles Oliveira fan. Not my style of fight, but I'm happy for Charles.
Conor McGregor came out with a lot of heavy criticism against Charles, and he's like, go, fine, man, you want to criticize me? Bring it. I think he said he'll beat him and Michael Chandler in the same night or something like that. I love it, but I guess I heard somewhere else that the UFC was not happy with the performance, and they're not considering Charles whatsoever to fight Conor. I don't know who Conor's going to fight. We shall see. That'll be for another day, but yeah, man, listen, I think it's dope, and the thing is, I think if it was anybody other than Charles, Dana White at the presser would have lit him up. Yeah, what was that about? That was crazy. But he didn't. He said, well, I guess he had a game plan. And ultimately, you can't fault the guy for trying to go out there and win. And so I was like, okay, Dana really, really, really likes Charles Oliveira to say that. Yeah, go ahead and get your cards. Don't worry. Okay, we're going to read through a couple comments. Louis Springing, who even allowed in the crowd for the White House card for security issues? Is it all billionaires from the Epstein files? Well, Dana at one point, it might be, so to some extent, but Dana at one point said that they were going to have military people there. They're going to have a section for Navy, for Army, for whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a large population of military folks. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of super powerful people as well, which, look, I mean, what do you expect? It's the White House for security reasons. I think they're going to have to do something like that. People that they can trust. So military and people that have certain relationships with the White House, I would imagine. Charles is Brazilian mofo BMF. Patricia says, let's go. Was Holloway Oliveira a fun fight? No, but Oliveira did what he had to do to win. I mean, I didn't think it was the worst fight ever. I was intrigued. Justin kept saying about how Max Holloway has amazing takedown defense, 87%, blah, blah, blah. So I was actually intrigued. I'm like, dude, can he do it again this round? Oh, he did it again. Can he do it again this round? He did it again. I actually thought it was kind of interesting. I'm not saying that's my favorite type of fight, but I respect it. And I think he should get a lot more credit than he's getting for developing and sticking to a game plan that assured him the victory. And I'm sorry, like, you also have to you got to give some criticism to Max. He couldn't get up, right? Am I right, Justin? Just like DDP should get criticism for not being able to get out from underneath Khamzat Chimaev. You disagree?
I don't know. It doesn't make, I guess, but I don't know. I just don't like fights like that.
Fair enough, but if you're a mixed martial artist, I mean, you coach wrestling, and you're the head of wrestling at Extreme Couture. That's why you train that skill, right? So people can get out from underneath. They can stuff takedowns. They can do all this. He was unable to do that. So ultimately, I don't think that all the blame needs to go on Charles Oliveira. I don't know, but that's my 2 cents. Francis, I think Charles was beating Holloway on the feet. He did he? Okay, well. That may be if you look at the stats now, but I think if they would have stayed on the feet, at least from when I was watching it, the way that Max was moving and his head moving and his punches, like he was just so fast. I feel like eventually he would have gotten the better of the exchanges on the feet, but you may be right that maybe I'm wrong there. I thought Conor was going to fight 170. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Prata said that Conor turned it down, so I don't think it's going to happen. Who knows what really happened, but Holloway McGregor should be next for international card in July. Yeah. Sure. I guess I'm down for that. I mean, it'll be a fun stand-up battle. Imagine if Conor starts shooting takedowns because of Oliveira. Oh, that'd be too good. Oliveira should fight either BSD or Arman again. That's what MMA Guru said. Man, I don't want to see Oliveira rematch Arman Tsarukyan for the BMF. That's what Guru said. No, man, give Arman the winner of Ilya versus Gaethje. That's it. That's the only thing I want to see. Arman needs to get a title shot. It's ridiculous. Holloway can fight Hooker next. I guess. Not bad. Or you could do Paddy Holloway. Oh, I think somebody said that. Paddy Holloway. I like that. I like that better. Islam If they stayed on the feet, Charles would have probably found a KO. Okay, well, interesting. Tehran thinks that he would have gotten a KO. Okay, I'm going to skip topic 5. We're really near the end of our time here. We generally like to go about an hour. I was going to ask what's next for RDR. We'll save that for another day. Actually, I'd love to know Justin's take if maybe you did a dedicated video to the RDR Kyle Borralho fight, because I think RDR did pretty good in round 1, but then Kyle took it over. So where does RDR go next from here with that performance? We're going to end on a fun note, a happy note. And guys, I'm going to pull up a picture of this exchange as we talk about it. But I just thought this was so cool to see. This was a feud that I think most of us, if never had happened to Ben Askren, this would have never happened. But look at this. Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal flew over to have dinner, I think, with Ben Askren. He said, hey, we'll settle this old grudge 6 years after the fight. Felt great to bury the hatchet. Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal are becoming friends. Really was super necessary. Remember, he said, hey, that knee and this, I think the punches after he was knocked out, he said, yeah, they were super necessary. This is the fight game. Ultimately, if you don't think, I go until the ref pulls me off. If you think otherwise, go watch hockey or some other sport, but this is MMA, when Jorge Masvidal said that. But nearly 6 years after they met, damn, 6 years ago at UFC, I still remember that. I was in the Caribbean. I was in Punta Cana, and we were trying to find a bar to watch that fight. I was so excited, and then we couldn't find it. And then they're like, "Oh, it ended in 13 seconds, so we didn't miss much." I'm like, "No," because I was rooting for
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. 5 seconds. But anyways, so they said, yeah, Askren revealed that he met his old rival for dinner, and they mended fences. The infamous knockout came after Masvidal and Askren spent weeks exchanging some nasty trash talk. Jorge Masvidal said, on repeated occasions, that he still wanted to beat up Ben Askren, and he, just talking super negatively about him. But then we saw what happened with poor Ben Askren, the lung transplant. Look at that, man. It gives us hope that any disagreement can be fixed, any bad grudge can be mended, because we just got to realize we're all mortal. We all have a short time on this planet, and we're all human. We're all coming from similar places. What is your thoughts? Do you like? I know some people hate it when these grudges are settled. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I like it. Yeah, it's a wholesome moment, and two good guys, man. I mean, it's the MMA game, man. You got, and then the other thing is Jorge needs to thank Ben for making him famous, because Jorge Masvidal misses out on a lot of opportunities if he doesn't knock out Ben Askren in 5 seconds.
100%, 1,000,000%. Dang it. And if Ben would have gotten that win, he would probably fought Kamaru Usman. I mean, things would have gone so differently. And Ben's really good. Like, people forget how good Ben Askren was. Yes, his striking is not anything to write home about, but his wrestling game was so dominant, and that's how he beat everybody. I used to hear that he would skip striking practice. He would just go do cardio and lift weights and be like, nah, I'm good for today. He just never cared, never tried. So funny. Ben Askren's such a legend. But yeah, Western says how wholesome. Jorge and Bisping now had beef before, now they're best buds. I would like to see Gaethje Masvidal become best buds. I didn't even know that they had a beef. Do they have beef? Gaethje and Masvidal? I had no idea. All right, guys, that is it for this really fun show. We had a lot of stuff to talk about. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you guys could click that like button here, if you're still on the stream at the end of the show, we really appreciate it. We're trying to make big moves here with this show and with this channel. We love it. We're having a blast. We had some record numbers about a week and a half ago, so we want to keep that going, or keep that returning. And like I said many a times, we love this community and we love this show. So if you guys could show us some love back, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.